With your host, Knotty Karate.
Scruffy-looking nerve herder.
And a rotating roundtable of awesomeness.
Go switch off.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes InDepth.com podcast.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Welcome to another episode of the SwGoH In-Depth podcast. It is your host, Nukin, the best host.
Wait, what?
The hostess with the mostest.
I've been keeping this seat extra warm, and the only thing that's stopping me from hosting another podcast would be...
Me?
Knotty's here! What?
Thanks, dude. This seat is so warm. It really feels good. You guys have been holding the torch in my absence. I love it. Do you want to talk about the game, or should we be silly? Actually, you know what? Let's start with, what are you wearing tonight? Let's get as creepy as possible. Avi, what are you wearing?
Wow, that was extra creepy there. I'm actually wearing a Starship Trooper t-shirt I got from working on the movie back in old days. And I'm also wearing kitty cat pajamas that have laser beams coming out of the cat eyes and some thermal hunting socks to keep warm.
Thermal hunting socks. Wow.
Yes.
Anna, what are you rocking tonight?
I'm rocking some yoga pants and an oversized sweater. I like to stay really comfy and cozy.
It's cold in Pennsylvania. I know Nukin's cold. What are you wearing, dude?
I feel like I'm in a blizzard because it's supposed to snow a foot, and I think it's already snowed half of that. And it's cold. Yep. I'm wearing some winter cycling socks and a velvet hoodie, trying to stay warm over here. What are you wearing, Knotty?
Well, as we just discussed, I'm recently back in home in Hawaii, and let's just say I'm not completely naked, but both of you got mad at me earlier because I turned on my air conditioning before we started recording.
Yeah, ridiculous.
So yeah, I'm warm and comfortable, and I'm not completely naked.
You lucky duck.
Yeah.
Indeed. So let's start with what are we going to do? What are we working on? Because there's been a lot of new projects in the game lately, and it's mostly kind of run of the mill since the last release of stuff. But I haven't been around a while. I've been working on stuff, mostly hoarding, but I would love to hear what you've been working on. Avi, you want to start us off?
Oh, trying to get ready for the new Millennium Falcon, but you know what? I'm not going to work that hard on it, just because I would rather actually be working on some of the necessary tunes that I've been putting off, like Scoundrels and Refine My Bounty Hunters. And I also am thinking of working on my Ewoks.
What do you mean by working on your Ewoks? Because if you have your Ewoks for, like, to get 3PO, do you want to, like, augment them to be better? Or
actually, yes, I do. They're already G12. I want to get them like G12 plus and get some Rosetas on them. I want to get them really up there to where they are so annoying nobody wants to even touch them.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, you're working on like maximizing the team out. That's neat.
Oh yeah.
I've never tried to do that before. They're a pretty annoying team to fight, though. I think it's worth it. Tell me how that project ends up working out.
I will. Yes.
Anna, what are your projects right now?
Well, right now, I just finished working on the bounty hunter ships today. So from here on out, just continuing to panic farm everything constantly. It's literally always panic farming.
By panic farm, what do you mean by that specifically? You're refreshing IG's node like what, 2-3 times a day?
Pretty much. I'll do a couple refreshes for each thing that I'm doing, whether it's focused gear or farming for my ships, because right now I only have 2 ships that I have to farm.
Oh, nice. You're ahead of the game then. Sound like you're poised well to enjoy it. Nukin, what are your projects?
I'm panic farming IG-2000. I'm doing 3 refreshes on the hard node per day. So 25, 50, and 100 crystal refresh. And I'm farming Django, Sith Bomber, and I'm trying to max gear Han Solo. What about
Max gear Han Solo? Which Han Solo?
The raid Han Solo, who's soon to be a pilot.
Oh, right. Oh, max gear on him will be important after.
Mm-hmm. You haven't done that yet?
Double.
No, he's rebel scum.
You know what? I don't think I've given him gear 12.5 pieces at all because he kind of doesn't need it. But now that he's a pilot, that's a good point. I hadn't even thought about that.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So all I've been doing is, this has kind of been my habit since Trey came out. I just hoard gear and hoard resources until I have to spend them, because I don't really need to spend them on anyone, you know? So yeah, I'm at my criteria point of having like enough stun guns, carbonis, and eyeballs and everything else in Zetas that I could gear. If a new Revan came out tomorrow, I could triple Zeta and take him to year 12 on day one without spending anything. So anyway, we're going to talk about that.
Are you trying to show off right now?
I guess I am. Yeah, I'm showboating a little bit.
Wow.
Anyway,
your gear stash is so awesome.
Yeah, but I gave a Zeta to Mission Vow and Young Han recently because I wanted to take Nest off the Scoundrel, the Kira lead team, in PvP events. And I really like what they do. They're kind of fun to use. I'm very inexperienced with them, but I still have 3 Zetas to drop, and it's probably going to be on. I don't know what it'll be on. Hopefully something comes out.
That's very interesting that you did Young Han Solo.
I know. I'm not really sure. I just did that today. By the way, at the time of this recording is Friday the 11th. Yeah, was it worth it? I don't know. It was just once I have 80 Zeta mats to spend, I'm like, I can get a little loosey-goosey with it here and there. But anyway, he's not that great. But whatever, he's fine. Whatever. He's a character who's not Enfys Nest on the team, so I can use her elsewhere. Speaking of Enfys Nest, though, oh, wait, hold on. Let's talk about the Millennium Falcon first, right? Abby, you wanted to bring this up? We have a new event here. We're in a headline news format right now.
Not that I want to bring it up, but I have to bring it up.
Well, you can have to, or you can want to.
Yes, Han's Millennium Falcon is coming this next week. The actual date is unconfirmed at the time, but I'm speculating maybe Wednesday or Thursday. And it'll be a legendary event. You'll be getting them at 5 stars. And the difficulty, hard to say. Speculating, I don't think it's going to be too difficult to get it.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Right. And, that's just kind of the basics. But who knows? Because this is like the first legendary ship.
I hope the event is really hard.
It might be.
Well, yeah, who knows? Because like I said, it's the first legendary event for ships. So what do? Do we panic? Do we not? I'm not going to panic. If there's a couple accounts that, I'll get the 7 stars, but the rest of them, you know what? I'm not even going to worry about it because I'd rather work on the necessary tunes that I have for other events that are going to be coming up rather than the Millennium Falcon. I would honestly, if there was another type of ship coming out, I would have been more enthusiastic about it, I think.
There are good things about the ship, though, is that almost everyone who can unlock the ship already has the pilot starred and geared and modded, like that's kind of a cool thing. But what I was curious about is if the difference between 5 and 7 stars will make any difference. Like, so the panic farm calculation is if you can unlock it, you'll probably be fine. It's not like a new ship that you have to now farm and gear up the pilots for. You already have these guys, Chewie and Han. And if you don't have them, get them and work on your bounty hunters,
Exactly. It's going to be viable at 5 stars, I'm sure. So I really don't think that people should be panic farming. To 7 stars, the usual people will get the 7-star ones for sure. How it will impact the fleet and arena, it's hard to say. We don't know what the kit is. We don't know what kind of attributes it's going to have. Who knows? It could be, running the gauntlet in, less than 12 parsecs. Who knows?
Does anyone want to speculate randomly about like what maybe something could happen? Because I have some ideas of how a ship could be awesome.
I think that the legendary Han's Millennium Falcon should be very strong since it's the first non-capital legendary ship. I'm predicting that it's going to be a scoundrel ship, and it may also be a rebel tag as well. And if it has both of those tags, maybe it'll work with, the other bounty hunter scoundrel ships, or it might work with young Lando's Millennium Falcon, or it might work with the rebel ships. And if it does work with the rebel ships, maybe it'll switch up the meta. Maybe like people are using Windu and Chimera and Executrix, but not so much the Home One. So potentially Home One will kind of get the same treatment that Anakin Starfighter kind of did to the Windu fleet with Han's Millennium Falcon.
Oh, that's an interesting idea, perhaps. I would like to see how it plays out. Because my suggestion, which you poo-pooed, was just give him AoE Annihilate.
That sounds very balanced.
Or be able, or if he had an ability to kill the capital ship and it just wasn't there during the battle.
I think that the ship, since it's a legendary, will have a unique debuff or buff of some kind. Mm-hmm. That's something that we can probably count on. Mm-hmm. And it'll probably have more than one special. That's, be kind of lame for a legendary ship to only have one move.
Right.
So I assume it'll have more than one, and maybe at least one unique. And I guess it needs to either have like a lot of health and speed and damage, or one of those things, or all of those things.
I would think so. There needs to be something to the Mace Windu
needs
counter.
To be legendary.
Yeah, he needs to somehow counter the fact that maybe AoE buff immunity or just high burst damage, or somehow being able to counter the fact that, if Mace gets off his special and they get retribution and so much protection regain that you can't really even hurt them, if he could negate that, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
He could have a reinforcement ability which does % max health damage, which would do a lot of damage to tanks or something.
Oh, yeah.
Come out as a reinforcement and do 200% extra damage based off the max health of a ship or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Or kind of like what they did to Enfys Nest, where if Jedi hit them with their basics, it depletes the health pool if they have protection up.
I will say this though,
kind of like that, maybe.
No matter as long as you unlock the ship, you should be able to use the reinforcement ability, because that starts at 5 stars, and all legendary characters and ships are unlocked at 5 stars. So as long as you get the ship, you should have access to using its reinforcement ability. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I guess really, to wrap up the subject, I mean, what is the difference for between a 5-star and a 6 or 7-star ship? You get extra health and damage and speed, I guess. But other than that, if it's not used in the starting rotation, there probably isn't a reason to panic farm the ship if you can at least unlock it.
For sure. Actually, Nukin, here's another thing I wanted to pick your brain on, is that if we do have, so how to prepare for this, because I think that's kind of one of the intentions of this podcast right now, is anyone listening, how to prepare for it. How many ship credits do you need to, let's say you get them at 5 stars. Okay, cool. 5, 6, 7, whatever it is. How do you take him and max him out? You need at least about 6 to 7 million ship credits, I think. And the number of Omegas you need, a ship Omegas to max them out, would be around roughly 60 is my guess. Do you think that's anywhere close to accurate?
Right. So let's just assume that it has a basic attack, a crew power, a unique, and a special or two. That's 5 abilities. And what does it take to upgrade that ship Omega wise? It's different. 15 to 20 per ability, right? Something like
15 to 20. Yeah.
So you're looking at least 50 or 60 more ship Omegas for reinforcement abilities. It starts off 25 reinforcement mats, and then I believe 75 for the second upgrade for that. And other than that, everything else should be good. I mean, those extra ship ability mats, the green, blue, purple, whatever, we have thousands or hundreds of, so that should be fine.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's more than 60, less than 100 Omegas, what you'll need
right
on day
somewhere
one.
in there.
If you
Yeah.
want to max them.
I would say preparing for it, if you're going to go for the unlock or the 7-star, save some ship Omegas and mats for potentially the bounty hunter ships. If the event is difficult, you actually may want to consider upgrading the reinforcement ability of Xanadu Blood to level 3 or Slave 1, for example. That will probably be quite helpful for the event, and potentially, make because you want to make sure that you at least get the ship the first time around. And what's worse, not doing that and trying to hoard and be able to max out a Han's Millennium Falcon on day one, or not getting it at all and just waiting a week or two. Yeah. So I would also save some stuff for potentially using it on the bounty hunter ships themselves.
Yep, definitely agreed. So in any case, we really don't know what we're talking about here because we have no official information from EA at the time of this recording, again, which is Friday night of the 11th. But what I do want to talk about, which is very interesting, kind of controversial, is the new TWU cycle that's coming out, where 28 tunes are banned from our ability to use, which is kind of interesting. A lot of people seem to be very angry about it. I'm not particularly happy about it myself, but I do think that we can dig deep and find ways to respond to it dynamically and be like, here's how to make the best of, make lemon out of lemonade, or vice versa. Sorry. Lemonade. Make a lemon out of... Hey, Nukin, how do we make lemons out of lemonade?
My mind has been blown / I'm also kind of confused. But yes, 28 tunes are banned. Yes. And not
most
only
of them
that,
are really good. Right?
Yeah. You took the words out of my mouth. A lot of them are good.
You got the talking stick, brother.
I paid good money for that. And that's one of the reasons why people are upset. They don't get to use their new shiny toy that they worked on, blah, 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 blah. And so that's one of
shiny toys too.
Many shiny toys. And that's one of the reasons why people are upset. I think that honestly, and I did a little news video on this, that a pick and ban system isn't necessarily terrible, but I think they kind of overdid it potentially with the amount that was banned and the way that they did it, with awkwardly picking groups of 4 that are, awkward, and kind of, they had having the devs pick bands. Why are you picking bands? You're not in my guild.
They picked some serious bands too.
And I'm not I don't understand why they got involved. That's not good either, in my opinion. So it was a weird way to do it, and it was not communicated well, and things changed, after the communication. So that's one thing. Another thing is that it's putting a lot of extra pressure on guilds that actually want to participate in territory wars. And I think Abby had a few words on that.
Oh, I've got more words than I can be repeated.
Tell us, Abby. I want to hear. What do you have?
Well, one of the things is some people might say, hey, this will be kind of interesting and stuff. Well, those are the kind of people that aren't the TW leads, or have to completely restructure your defense strategies and where to place tunes, what you're going to be using, who you're going to, the whole shebang. These are the TW leads of any of the guilds and any of the people that also help the leads. I am the lead of one guild, and kind of like the co-lead of another. So, this is just, I'm stressing. I am stressing out a lot on this because both guilds I do completely different. I use different strategies for both guilds. So this is like double the duty. And it's tough because I'm having to completely look at everything, tear everything down, throw everything out that I have, and basically rebuild back up. And that is not an easy to do in a very short amount of time. You only got 4 days basically to do it from the time that they release this to the time that we're going to be starting TW on the 13th.
Anna, I want to know, since you're in a top tier and you're amazing at TW, like, what do you think about this?
I'm not a fan of it, to be honest. I think
of the banning of characters, right?
Correct. I think it'll be interesting, but I'm not a fan of it one bit. It's nice that we have a little bit of time to look at our roster and think which tunes we can use, which tunes we can't, the synergy between the ones that are left over. Although I have to say, a few days ago, I made the mistake of double Zetaing Django Fett, and now I am even more regretting it.
What? Oh, did they? Oh, Django's out too. Oh, I didn't.
It was first thing in the morning, like literally like 7 a.m. And I was like, oh yeah, Django's going to be great. I'm going to Zeta the lead. I'm going to Omega everything else. And I was just like sleepy, Omegaing everything. And then I looked at it. 2 Zetas? Oh my God, what did I do? But
Django Fett is banned.
Yeah.
Well, who would?
And Tobias, hopefully for the next one.
Who are you going to give his mod set to? Because if you invested Zetas in him, he's probably got at least above average mods, right?
Honestly, I'm still working on a lot of the mod sets, swapping everything around, seeing what works where.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really sticks too much.
Zeta on Django a second time, and then you can't use him? That sucks. See, that's one reason why people are upset, right? Because they're like, my investment is null and void. What the hell?
I'm thankful that I'll get to use him hopefully for the next Territory Wars or, you know, the next Grand Arena. Hopefully they don't ban characters in Grand Arena. That would make me kind of a little bit more frustrated with Grand Arena.
Yeah, well, you know what? They're playing with it. They're like tweaking and it's changed every single cycle that we've seen lately. So, you know, nothing is set in stone. It's just like, hey, let's try this, you know. And this time around, it's kind of cool because I'm looking at the bright side of it, or looking for the silver lining, because there is a lot of opportunity for creativity, and there are at least, I don't know if I have enough fingers to count the tunes. There's at least 10 tunes, let's put it that way, where I have a mod set on them that is very well developed and designed for them. But if I can't use them, then what I wanted to pick your brains on is right before lock-in, how do I set up my mod loadouts so that I can just give Revan and Nihilus and Django Fett's mods to someone else that I wouldn't necessarily use very often? Like, you know, Wicket, guess what? You get Nihilus's mods. Enjoy, buddy. You know, but I think one thing to do in my mind, if we can start this conversation, is that Bastila is definitely going to get Revan's mods in my roster. And Leia is probably going to get Nihilus, or, you know, someone in the Triumvirate, some really fast mod set. And Kenobi, because we can't use General Kenobi. Avi, didn't you say Chopper? Give your Kenobi mods to Chopper.
Get GK to the Chopper. Yeah.
Get him to the Chopper! But I'm just curious, there's a lot of other characters that some people may or may not have, and how to manage not only moving mod sets before the lock-in, which I think is that Monday? But I don't know. I feel like this is kind of the meat of what we have to talk about, is really where do your mod sets go and who do they go on and why? Because there's a lot of teams that are split apart and may not even work anymore just because of the characters removed from them.
Right. I definitely think it was a poor choice of the amount of characters. that they had. If they were going to do something like that, they should have just done a faction instead of a random specific tune from specific factions that made that specific team cohesive.
So if you're going to participate competitively in TW, I think what you want to do is take a look at the band characters and think of the mod sets that they typically will have. Like this character will have a bunch of speed, or this character will have a bunch of offense, and then migrate that to another sort of class type of character that would also benefit from that. And so something that's probably the most important in this game, because it's a turn-based game, is to have high speed on your characters. So if you take a look at the band characters, I can see at least, maybe about 10 characters that you could actually take the secondary speed from those mods and put them on characters that you can actually use in Guilty W. And so some of those are as follows. If you guys want to take some notes: Jedi Knight Revan, Colonel Stark, Darth Treya, Darth Nihilus, Night Sister Zombie, Jolie Bindo, General Kenobi, First Order Officer, Jango Fett, and Enfys Nest. So some of those characters, if you Han Solo is usually not very quick, but maybe your Han Solo is.
Oh, actually, he doesn't need to be fast. I see. So you're talking about speed mods.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Speed.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Gotcha.
So if those characters typically have a bunch of secondary speed. So those characters, if you, at the very least, if you want to be competitive in TW, I would take those characters' mods and just move them to 10 other plus characters that you will actually end up using in Guilty W. And that should be good enough, for this. And hopefully it's a one-time thing.
Hopefully, yeah. Or they might switch it up later down the road. One thing I do want to know, Nukin, on top of that is, are you going to make a video before TW lock-in about who to give these mods to? Like which characters that are not on the banned list?
I am planning on it. I'm going to try, but I am not sure because it's a crazy weekend. My birthday's in a few days.
Oh yeah. By the way, preemptive happy birthday in 2 days. By the time this podcast, people are listening to this podcast, I hope you're enjoying a wonderful birthday where people are crowd surfing you. Or
Thank
and
you.
All the girls are there.
I'm actually going to be meeting up with someone who plays this game on my birthday, so that'll be fun.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. And I am going to be another year older, but potentially not wiser. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, life goes on, man. You'll see.
It's nothing special. I'm not turning 30 or anything, so that's
every day I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, I'm still alive. Wow.
I forgot what 30 looked like.
I don't know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Anyway, I think we've been rambling along enough. Let's close it out, guys.
Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this brief podcast. We always love talking to you guys and talking to ourselves amongst ourselves, and you can listen to it. And thank you, and you're welcome. And yeah, we'll be back. I'm happy to be back. These three youngsters have been holding the torch for the last month while I have been on hiatus and on vacation and just not available on voice chat. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate everybody here and everyone that listens and logs into this podcast. So cheers, everybody. Cheers, Avi. Cheers, Nukin.
That
cheers,
was
Anna.
so sentimental.
Oh, we missed you so much.
I have one thing to say. Everyone listening, if you're still listening, let's ask them a question. What are you wearing while listening to this podcast?
What the hell?
Yes, please tell us what you are wearing tonight.
Or what should we ask at the beginning of the next podcast?
Yes, definitely. This one was what you were wearing. What else should we be talking about?
All right, cheers.
Boom.
Bye.
I love it.
The Force will be with you always.